Lamb shouldn't be this important. It's just one animal. Yet for thousands of years, sheep have traveled alongside humans across mountains, deserts, coastlines, and grasslands. Their meat became family feasts, street food, holiday traditions, and some of the most beloved dishes on earth. From Greek Moussaka to Turkish Döner to Moroccan Tagine, the story of lamb is really the story of people. And by the end of this video, you'll understand how one animal helped shape cuisines across half the planet. Sheep were among humanity's earliest domesticated livestock. Archaeological evidence suggests they were first domesticated in Southwest Asia, thousands of years ago. Over time, sheep provided meat, milk, hides, and eventually wool. Unlike larger livestock, sheep could thrive in rugged landscapes where farming was often difficult. As people moved, sheep moved with them, and wherever sheep arrived, new recipes followed. Let's begin with the simplest expression of lamb itself. Lamb chops are simplicity pretending to be luxury. Cut from the rib section, they're naturally tender and require very little intervention. Salt, pepper, fire, that's often enough. What surprises many people is how different lamb tastes from beef. It's richer, more earthy, more distinctive. Its flavor can also vary depending on where the sheep were raised. A lamb grazing on New Zealand pasture develops different characteristics than one raised in the Scottish Highlands. In a strange way, you're tasting geography. The landscape becomes part of the flavor. When lamb chops hit a hot grill, browning reactions create the roasted aromas most people immediately recognize. The outside develops a flavorful crust. The inside remains juicy. Great ingredients don't need much explanation. Sometimes fire does most of the talking. The same cut can feel perfectly at home almost anywhere. If lamb chops are personal, roast lamb is communal. For generations, roast lamb has been associated with celebrations, family gatherings, religious holidays, special occasions. But what makes roast lamb memorable isn't only the flavor, it's the anticipation. Long before the meal begins, the aroma spreads through the house. Researchers have found that smell is strongly connected to memory and emotion. A familiar aroma can instantly bring back people, places, and experiences from years earlier. That's part of the power of roast lamb. It becomes attached to traditions, to family, to moments repeated year after year. And maybe that's why roast lamb remains so beloved. Sometimes food isn't only about eating. Sometimes it's about remembering. Sometimes a meal is remembered because of who shared it with you. At first glance, lamb shank doesn't look impressive. It's cut from the lower leg, a muscle that works constantly. That work creates toughness. But hidden inside the shank is collagen. When cooked slowly for hours, collagen-rich connective tissue gradually breaks down into gelatin. The result is one of cooking's most dramatic transformations. A tough cut becomes incredibly tender. The meat begins pulling apart effortlessly. It's proof that time can be an ingredient. Not every dish improves through speed. Some improve because they slow down. Some foods require effort. This one surrenders. Long before modern restaurants, people were already cooking meat over open flames. And few ideas have survived as successfully as the kebab. The concept is simple. Small pieces of meat, cooked quickly, maximum flavor, minimal waiting. Across Turkey, Iran, Central Asia, and much of the Middle East, lamb kebabs became a staple. Every region developed its own seasonings and traditions, but the core idea remained unchanged. Fire, smoke, meat. Thousands of years later, the formula still works. And now we arrive at perhaps the most influential lamb dish in modern Europe, the doner. At first glance, it looks simple. A vertical tower of meat slowly rotating beside a heat source. Thin slices shaved away as the outside crisps. But the story behind it is far bigger than the machine itself. The roots of doner can be traced to the Ottoman world, where the vertical rotisserie style developed during the 19th century. The version many people recognize today took shape in Germany, where Turkish immigrants adapted traditional recipes to a new environment. What began as a familiar food for immigrant communities eventually became one of Europe's most recognizable street foods. The remarkable thing isn't the meat, it's what the dish represents. Food travels the same way people do. It crosses borders, adapts to new environments, changes while still carrying pieces of its past. And perhaps that's why the doner became so successful. Not because it stayed exactly the same, but because it learned how to evolve. One rotating tower of meat, an entire history hidden inside it. Lamb curry isn't really a recipe, it's memory. Every family has its own version. Every household changes something, more chili, less chili, different spices. The first thing you notice isn't the taste, it's the aroma. Before the curry reaches the table, it fills the room. Cumin, coriander, cardamom, garlic, ginger. Each ingredient contributes something different. Warmth, depth, complexity. Then comes the lamb, slowly simmered until it absorbs the flavors surrounding it. Across South Asia, many recipes survive through families rather than cookbooks, passed from one generation to the next through observation and repetition, which means every curry carries experience and memory that can't easily be written down. Some people leave behind photographs, others leave behind recipes. Both become ways of remembering. If curry is built through layers of spice, moussaka is built through layers of structure. The dish exists in several regional forms across parts of the Balkans and Eastern Mediterranean, but the version most people recognize today is the Greek version, layered with eggplant, seasoned meat, and a rich bechamel topping. The modern Greek version was popularized during the 1920s by chef Nikolaos Tselamantis. Layer after layer comes together. Then the oven takes over. The flavors merge. Individual ingredients become part of something larger. And perhaps that's why moussaka feels so comforting. The best things are often built one layer at a time. The strongest things are often built slowly. And finally, we arrive at one of North Africa's most iconic lamb dishes, the tagine, named after the distinctive cooking vessel itself. Its cone-shaped lid serves a practical purpose. As steam rises during cooking, moisture condenses and returns to the food, helping keep ingredients tender during long cooking times. Inside the tagine, ingredients slowly transform. Lamb, spices, olives, dried fruits, flavors that seem unlikely together, yet somehow create balance. Sweetness meeting savoriness, richness meeting brightness, difference becoming harmony. Sharing food is an important part of hospitality in many North African food traditions. Meals are often shared among family, friends, and guests, and maybe that's why the tagine feels larger than a recipe. Because different ingredients contribute different strengths, different people do too. Thousands of years ago, a shepherd watched over a small flock of sheep beneath an open sky. He could never have imagined where that story would lead. From mountain villages to global cities, from simple fires to modern kitchens. The same animal inspired dishes across continents and generations. Because food is more than nutrition, it's memory, it's identity, it's history. And perhaps that's why meals matter so much. Not because we remember exactly what we ate, but because we remember who we shared it with. Long after people are gone, their stories remain, sometimes hidden inside a recipe, waiting to be tasted again.